Hello everyone, I'm Gweakles. Today I'm going to be doing a quick little how-to for you guys. It's been requested that I do a couple of things such as show how I draw noses and hair. So I figured instead of making individual little videos for each of those things, I'm just going to show you how I draw people and portraits and that whole shebang. I hope you all have had a wonderful new year and you're having a great year so far, but let's get to it. Okay, so just so everyone knows, the sketchbook that I'm drawing in is a Moleskine watercolor sketchbook. And the pencils I'll be using are Prismacolor Colorase pencils in blue, and if I feel the need to, brown. The eraser I'm using is a kneaded eraser, and I just have a normal pencil sharpener, 3 different sizes, and then I have this little jar that I'm going to put the pencil shavings in so they don't get all over my desk. Off camera, I have a couple of references. As always, when you're practicing drawing people or anything in general, I think you should have some references, obviously, because that's the best way to learn. They do say that the best way to learn how to draw people is from life, but not everyone has the time or money or means to see live models, and that's perfectly fine. Just getting your practice wherever you can. But the basics of how I draw everything, people especially, is shapes. I break everything down to shapes. So for the head, obviously it's a circle, and then the neck would be a cylinder or a rectangle, and then so I'm drawing a male, so the shoulders are typically more stiff, more square, and they slump down like at an angle. Then I use the middle line to kind of figure out where the guy is going to be looking, like where his, like you can tell right away, okay, his head is turned this way, and then you want to do another guideline to be like, all right, this is going to be generally where, you know, the eyes and the brow bone is going to be, this is going to be where the nose is going to set, and this is going to be where the mouth is. Now, the ears always go where the beginning of the eye or the brow bone begins and where the nose ends, typically. Obviously, if you have a different kind of character or species, you know, that's going to be different. So I'm just going to draw on a little oval-like circle here to, you know, insinuate where that's going to go. It's really important, and I make this mistake all the time. I'll want to go into little areas and start putting in the details beforehand, and that's not a good idea. So if you can absolutely help it, unless the lines are guiding you, just for now, stick to the shapes. So because he's looking this way, I'm going to kind of put in a circle where the eye sockets are going to go, and we'll edit those later. Don't worry about it. This is just making guides for yourself. And then I'm going to use a little triangle where the nose is going to be, and then a little rectangle for where the mouth is going to be. Now this looks a little scary, and this could totally be a robot, but remember, this is just all a guide. So then from there, I'm going to start forming, you know, the shape of the face. Like this is where the cheekbone would go. The cheek goes down to match where the lips, and depending on the person's bone structure, this bone or this ridge may be more defined, it may be less defined, but that is for you to decide in your drawing. And then we're going to have the jawline, and then bring up to the chin. Since the lips are right here, this is where the chin's going to be. And then bring this up, and because they have a defined jawline, you take this line, extend it over here to go with your guideline. Oh, that's where the cheek is, that's where the mouth is going to be. Now where the eyes come in, you know, the eye sockets are going to be here, so you got to indent a little for like the brown, and then depending upon what kind of, you know, brow they have, you know, as I said, it's important to have a reference. Stick to your reference. You would make it go up. Some people have a more defined brow than others do. Again, for shapes, everybody has, like, the back of your skull is going to be obviously back here. Make this go around so you have an idea. Even if your person, obviously, their skull might not be, you know, you're not going to see all that because of their hair. Maybe their skull is a little different shaped, but this is just a guide, just for you to see. So like, okay, that's where the eyes, nose, and mouth is going to go. This is where their neck is going to be. You know, you can start making it a little more predominant and like make it a little more loose. But it's important to always draw light in case you mess up. This is why kneaded eraser is awesome, because you can gently either roll over it like this or press it down and it will pick up the graphite, whether it is a colored, well, an erasable colored pencil or not, but then you can still make it be like really light. Now for the hair, so this guy, I can't tell if he has a widow's peak or not because his hair's in the way, but I'm just gonna make one big shape extending from, you know, where it stops at the back of his hairline, in the back of his head, going forward, because his hair kind of passes his brow a little bit, and then goes down. He's got a fade cut, so this is where most of his hair is. It kind of looks like he has a toupee right now, but his hairline goes here, and then down, and then he's gonna have like a little almost sideburn, and then it turns like into his beard. The beard is gonna go down here to where his chin is, and then he has like a mustache there. So I have, and then he has, you know, a shirt. So you kind of have the basics of where, you know, everything is gonna go on him. Now don't worry about details, like if he has an earring, don't worry about putting that in right now. All you're trying to do is set yourself up for guides so you can put your details in later and worry about that last. I know it's really hard. I find myself going in and like doing the eyes and the mouth and the whole face before I even get out here, because you're really excited and you want to get to your piece, but just the best way to do it, especially if you're practicing, you know, it's easier for everybody different ways. For me, I like breaking things down into shapes. So then like his brow, he's kind of got an angled face. The brow is really angled right here. He's got like somewhat of a sass expression, so I'm just gonna put lines for his eyebrows for now. And then his brow, you know, it turns into his nose. He's got somewhat of a long nose. Sorry, there's a motorcycle outside. And then the nose is really weird. Noses are really peculiar. So this is kind of like the inside of the eye duct. I like make a little indentation right here, and then his nose is like really long and it comes out. So keep with your little triangle that you had going, but no, okay, so like this is where the socket is. The sockets are right here, and like that's kind of where, you know, the whole eye region is. And then he has like a pointy nose, so the bottom where the nostril is, I've found that it's important to not get too detailed or add too many lines into like nose or face, because the more lines that you add, the odder it looks, or the older people look. So if you can make noses or just anything on the face as simple as possible, the better. So then I just make kind of like this little swoop right here for the nostril, and then down, because your nose is connected right here to your face. I was in the habit of drawing like, you know, the lip line, but I found that drawing that makes it look weird. And then sometimes just like a little bit of a indentation to know, okay, that's where his nostril is. And then right here to know like that's where his little his eye socket is. So, you know, when you have eyelids, so you're gonna have a little indentation here. Now guys are really hard for lips, where lips are concerned, because if you draw lips on him, then he's gonna look like pretty girl, and that's perfectly okay. Some guys have delicious lips, but just like if you draw lines on the face, you're gonna make someone look old. If you put lips on a dude, they may, you know, it's not gonna come out looking how you want it to. So these are good lines to be like, okay, this is where the lips are. You know, your lip tip, typically, depending, everybody has different lips. So typically you have like a little pointy thing right here where your upper lip is. Some people don't have that. Some people have round lips. Some people have more fuller lips than others. But you have to always remember that this is a side. So his mouth, typically the corners of your mouth go inward like this. And with guys, I find it's best if you kind of just imply like where the bottom of the lip is. Again, this is just how I do it, and especially because he's going to have like a beard or a mustache, I don't want to put too much and the space around his mouth, because then it's just going to look weird. Now with the eyeballs, obviously all eyeballs are round, or like, you know, football shapes more or less, but inside, behind the football shapes, your eyes are round, and then your eyelids come to wrap around them, creating that football shape appearance. So if he's looking over here, and you want to make, I make a little circle, be like, okay, that's the direction he's looking. Now I know his eye is like big like this, but I'm going to make the wrap of his eyelids starting from the back, moving to the front, because this is the direction his eye is going. So that's the direction I want to bring my lines. And because, and then so this is the side, so you show his little tear duct right here, and his lid, that's right here, baby lid right here. And then because his eye is kind of, it's not all the way open, you want to show a line on top, because if you leave it open like this, then he looks surprised. But if you close, the more you close it, the closer you want to put your lines. Now because he's a gentleman, and he does have very lovely eyelashes, if you put lines right there, then it's gonna make him look obviously very feminine. If he's not, the best way I found to, you know, give the gentlemen's some eyes to like make your lines a little thicker in areas. So then because he has his brow right here, just gonna give him a little more scruffy of a brow. Sometimes you can put an indentation here, like his brow bone is right there. We'll color this in so you can see, because we're not going to color that. And then same for his other eye, because as a side view, his eyebrow is going to be more thick right here. Again, just fill it in shapes. I don't make the shapes for the eyebrows too defined, because eyebrows in reality aren't perfect unless you're like tweezing them and such. And even then, they're hairs. They're loose. They're free. They're on, you know, they've got a mind of their own. But so again, because his eye is sideways, and this is his eyelid, go down and up to show that, you know, it's sitting in an eyeball. There's eyelids there, you know. Again, a line on top. He's got a nice cheekbone. This goes in. This is his mouth, his chin. Again, I shouldn't be drawing this hard, but this is a bad habit of mine. For ears are, everybody once again has different ears. Some people have ears that are actually attached. There's no little lobey right here. And some people's earlobe is actually still attached to the side of their head. My stepfather calls them flickable earlobes. So if you have flickable earlobes, then, you know, it starts up here, goes around, and then you have a distinguished, you know, there's a distinguished oval, there's a distinguished area where the lobe is not attached to the side of your head. If you don't have flickable earlobes, then this is just going to be brought in. Now he has a little ear piercing. Now there's an inner and outer part of your ear. There's the inner part, and then the outer part is kind of like, you want to leave it, I shaded it in and I shouldn't have, but that's an easy way to distinguish between the two. So you want to leave the area for your earlobes, the outer part. Ears are really weird, it's practice, and everybody has different ears. So that's another thing to consider, and why you should definitely study more ears. Okay, so the back of his head is also right here, but his head is shaved, so this area, he kind of has a fade cut. So normally I would say, okay, so this is where this is going, just make little lines, insinuating. He's got himself a beard going on. This is a light sketch. If you're drawing this, I would taper the lines and not make them obviously all one length, because a beard is not all one length. And it's really hard, I've found mustaches are really hard to make and then not make them like look like a cartoon. So that's why it's important to tape your lines. Some gentlemen, their beards are like a little bit on their neck, and some of them are not. Again, that's all up to your reference. This throat is right here, so I always put a little bit of a shade under the neck, under in the corners where your neck meet your shoulders and your collarbone. And very defined shoulders. And the hair, once again, okay, so we have this big shape. So we're gonna just break it down. He's got curly hair, it's in tufts. So his hair is like going this way. So make the shapes in the general direction that you want your hair to go. So he's like, hoo-hoo, bunch of circly circles. Don't worry about stray hairs just yet. So he has curly hair, so I'm just making a bunch of circles like in the direction that his hair is flowing. And right now it looks like he has like a cotton candy situation going on. Don't worry about it. So then from there, I'm gonna lightly pick up some of the graphite, and I still have my guidelines here. So then I'm gonna go back and taper the ends and go on the edges and connect some of the ends. And however the less amount of lines you want to use, or the least amount of lines you want to use, is going to give you, you know, whatever effect you want. I'm learning that I personally prefer less. I'm not using less right now because I'm out of practice. But and then you always want to make sure that you see where like the roots meet. So like we can see, okay, he has a fade cut, and right up here it's more it's thicker. He has more hair up here. So typically where there's a thicker area of hair, I want to show that with lines and then put more detail into where the different sections are. And then my favorite part is adding the stray hairs and making those as thin as you possibly can, because, you know, in reality we have stray hairs and nobody's perfect, and that's kind of like my favorite thing to do. So that's typically how I draw my dudes. Now with ladies, it's more or less the same thing, but the more feminine you are, obviously the softer your features are going to be, depending upon you know, obviously your bone structure and the general shape of your face and all that. But once again, I break everything down into shapes first. I mark where the eyes, the nose, mouth, the ears are going to be, hairline. That always helps. Just put that in there, putting where the skull is going to be, the neck, and then the shoulders. Ladies typically have, obviously where men are more square, ladies have like more rounded out shoulders. They're not necessarily as stocky as men, more feminine, you know, softer curves, that sort of thing. But it's more or less the same exact approach as drawing a dude or anything else that I draw. I break everything down into shapes. So then her hair's pulled back. She has her hair parted right here, so that's her hairline. She's got hair pulled back up, bring it over here. She's got a little poofy poof, and then really long hair that falls over her shoulders and goes over her back. Again, you know, just the idea is you're just blocking in where things are going to be right now, and then if it's not in the correct place, then you can fix it without, you know, it have ruined your whole drawing and your whole experience. Now ladies, obviously, depending upon their ethnicity or their origin or their structure, and the same goes with gentlemen too, their bone structure is entirely different. You know, they might be more curvy, have softer features, but once again, cheekbone, don't have to leave that, and it goes down to the chin, rounded out chin. She has rounded out facial features, and then here's the ridge of where her cheekbone is, goes out where her eye socket is, and then bring that back around. Stop drawing so dark. Her eyebrows, most of the time, eyebrows tend to be a little thinner, and then they're thick right here, and then they're thinned out once they get to the edge. Now that isn't the case for everybody. I myself, I have really thick eyebrows. So I like to give ladies, like, instead of just giving them thin eyebrows, unless those are the eyebrows they have, I prefer to give them fun and like more animated eyebrows, depending upon the personality. That's another thing that really, you know, shows behind the character or the person you're drawing, or the personality, the shape of their features, you know, how they're contorted, everything adds. It's always fun to consider, and that's why it's important to just draw a lot of people with references, so then you have those little intricacies in your mind when you go to do it yourself. So, you know, her eyes kind of closed, she's like, you know, no fucks given look. Again, coming from the side, so she's looking to the side. There's a little swoop because the socket of her eye. She's got some eyeshadow going on. And then, because she's a lady, if I were to draw her eyelashes, because her eyes are facing this way, her eyelashes are going to be going that way. Same with her bottom lashes. Typically your bottom lashes aren't as long as your top lashes, but you know, I like to pop them in there because it's more fun. And then if you are going to add a little bit, it does look a little weird. She's got a little cat eye going. That's always fun. A swoop of her nose bone is right there. And what's cool is, because that's the socket of your eye, your nose always goes in, so it's holding that. And then you just bring that down. And then you can make a little line here, almost like a smaller triangle, to extend with the larger one, because this is under. This is the portion that's connecting to your upper lip. So it kind of goes in a swoosh. So you have like a nose, like this is the bottom part of the nose, and this is the top part of your nose. Then you have a circle, and it's connected almost like, you know, that's the stem of your nose, and then there's your nostril, and shabam right there. But noses are wonderful, and they come in all glorious shapes and sizes. So her nose kind of points down, so her curve is a little bit more. She's got a different kind of curve going on. Whoops, see what happens when you draw too hard? You never learn. And sometimes, like with drawing lines, it may be a little bit much to show everything. So sometimes you just want to show the beginning of the nose, and then you just want to show the end. So it doesn't look like, perhaps she does have a really long nose, and you don't want it to look so exaggerated because it's not going to be very flattering on her. So that is an option. So that's why a lot of people, so you don't draw this whole line, you just draw the bottom of the nose and then the top where the eyes would go. It is a little more simplistic, but it is also a little more flattering. She's got big lips. So once again, the line's gonna go, she's got pointy lips where the bottom lip and the top lip meet. And then here's where the chin begins, under the lips. And then that's where the mouth stops. She's just having none of it today. Ladies typically have very thin necks. Goes down, it's her collarbone. And then, so her hair's tied back. So you want to insinuate that this hair is pulled back. She has a hairline. This hair is pulled back. So I only show, like, you know, enough lines to let you know that that's hair, but it's also a designated cluster. And then hair will come together in sections, but then at the end, they kind of split and go off on their own separate ways, depending upon how thick or thin, you know, your hair is. And once again, you know, stray wispies that go off on their own. Those are my favorite parts to do with hair, because I really think it adds like a nice touch, making the wispies. will be all by themselves. Now she doesn't have a very hard jawline. She has a soft cheek, so that was more of a guide. So I would maybe do this, so you just see that she has, you know, that bone, soft bone, and then a little bit of shading here, shading where her collarbone is. She's got some fairly nice bubbies, so I'll just indicate that here, because she has a tank top on. But yeah, so this all shading down here. This is not the booby tutorial. But yeah, so that's basically how I draw people. I start with shapes, I take my time and I break it down from there. The best way to do it is to always have a photo reference, even when you're comfortable. You know, your style's gonna come through. You're not trying to copy the photo, you're just looking at it to get a good idea of how that person is shaped, you know, the flow of hair, just like it's an excellent study. I always recommend practicing with and without references to better your style and to, you know, because you can't really start from nowhere. Your stuff is going to look better once you've had something to look at and something to put to memory. But I hope that was incredibly helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what you thought, any other kind of helpful artistic videos that you'd like to see. I hope you have a wonderful new year, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.